Hello, everyone. This is Jory Perczynski with Everyone in Wellness and Abilities Fair, which is coming up this September 30th, this month, Saturday, September 30th, 9 to 5. You do not want to miss this event. It's a unique event, never been done before. Wellness and bringing together an abilities fest to celebrate life and to actually bring in true inclusions. That is something that needs to be done. Now, we have a speaker lineup, 12 different speakers. And today I have the privilege of having Charlie Ray, Limitless Believing. He's going to be one of our speakers. And we're going to find out a little bit more about Charlie. Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
Hey, good, Jory. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
So you're going to be, well, tell us your story. I mean, I know what your story is.
Yeah.
But tell us the background of like, what do you do and why?
Yeah, so back in 2010, my whole life changed like in an instant. My 14-year-old son was going into 8th grade. It was the beginning of the school year. We started to get into the school year and roughly, I don't know, maybe a month or two in, he started having some trouble sleeping. And so we brought him to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician's like, you know what, I can't figure out what's wrong with him. She tested him for everything. And so she thought that he might have depression. He was mildly depressed. But she was not a newer pediatrician. She was newer to Kristopher because the old one had retired. And so she didn't go back in the records. I don't think she did, and saw that when Kristopher was an infant, or on a toddler, he was put on prescription sleep medicine. And so his only symptom is he had trouble sleeping. She diagnosed him with depression, and they put him on Zoloft. Well, later on in the school year, he started cutting himself, and we had no idea that was happening until we forced up one of his sleeves, and we saw cut marks on both arms. And so we brought him to the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist talked to us, talked to Kristopher. One session, increased his medication. Yes, your son's depressed. Well, Zoloft can make you depressed. It's one of the side effects. It can make you suicidal. And especially it can make you depressed if you're not actually depressed.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so we put him on the Zoloft. About 2 weeks later, we went, my wife at the time, we went out to get some food. We get a frantic call from my 9-year-old daughter, Michaela. Kristopher's not moving. He's not responding. I think he's playing a joke on me, and we raced home. And I knew at that moment, like my heart just sunk, and I totally felt like something was wrong. And we raced home. I went through every stop sign, every stoplight, pulled into the driveway, and ran down to the basement, and Kristopher had hung himself. So we had to start CPR. He was brought out to a local hospital. They transported him via helicopter to the local children's hospital. He was on life support there for about 3 days, nothing that we could do to save his life. And so that led into depression for me. I lost my brother-in-law 8 months later, my dad 8 months after that to cancer, and my mom about a couple of months after that was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and died a few months after she was diagnosed. And then I got divorced. So I was in this spiral down to my own life where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
So I'm sitting in my parents' house, getting ready to sell it. And I'm drinking, and I'm like making some statements on Facebook, and like, I'm done. And the police show up and they bring me to mental health. And that was the moment where I was like, I've got to do something. And so I started building myself back up. And it takes years because you're grieving 4 deaths and you're grieving a divorce. No matter whether it was bad or good, that's still a grieving process. Yes. So you're going through all of this. And as I started to build back up, I'm like, what can I do to honor my son? It wasn't so much about honoring him and his memory. It was about how can I make an impact in somebody's life without medication, without years and years of therapy, but to make an impact. Because here's the thing, if you're suffering from an emotional trauma, depression, anxiety, fears, phobias, PTSD, it doesn't matter what it is, you're suffering from an emotional trauma. I don't want somebody to have to feel the pain that I feel every single day. And I'm talking about every day I cry for my son. That pain is real, but that's the gift that he gave me to be able to make an impact because I feel pain in other people. and I know I can help them because I developed a technique called Neuro Associative Disruption, which you actually went through. So
Yes.
as little as 15 minutes, that impact of reprogramming the subconscious mind has been affected. And that's what I mastered and got so good at. And I've been blessed to work so far with over 6,000 people and being able to impact their lives within 1 or 2 or maybe even 4 sessions. Their life transforms forever. So that's the gift that I have to give to other people. And that's the empowerment and the gift that Kristopher gave to me to really impact people's lives.
So what's like an age range of people that you have helped?
Yeah. So here's the thing, there's no real age. It's a matter of the process, right? Like when I had you close your eyes. I had you, well, actually you went through a different one. We anchor something with an anchoring system. That's what we did for you.
Yes.
But one of the processes is floating out of your body. So you imagine yourself. If you can imagine yourself in these different positions where you're floating above yourself, you can actually go back to the moment and relive that moment, because we're going to lock it into the subconscious mind, which is that new empowering feeling.
Right.
I think we did do that with you, because then I also anchored it with that. We released it and then we anchored it. Yeah.
This was my thing.
Yeah.
This is my thing. And my moment was when I was on a stage speaking very passionately about, it was Boy Scout, Cub Scout camping. But I was so passionate about it. I didn't need a script. I told people, you wind me up, put me anywhere, I will speak for whatever amount of time you need. And Charlie, I never told you, I failed my public speaking course in high school.
Yeah.
Now you wouldn't know it, but yeah, this is it. Every time it takes me right back to that moment where I was in front of probably 100 people, telling them the importance of camping and what it's going to help them help their kids do. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And that whole being out of your body and looking down.
Yeah. It's the disassociation and the association with the event, but then you locked in the new belief, and then we empowered it with an anchoring technique where all you have to do like this and it goes right into it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. One of the parts of my stories which I didn't share with you. So when I was 4 years old, I was hit by a drunk driver. And actually, they called it a severe skull fracture, but I actually died in my mom's arms. I actually was floating out of my body. I saw my mom holding me crying. I saw all the neighbor kids. I could pick out every one of their faces. I saw a bright light. And then I was kind of like in my body again, but I was being loaded into the ambulance. But that was an actual traumatic brain injury. So after that traumatic brain injury, they didn't know much about traumatic brain injuries, right? So I just had a severe skull fracture, and then my mood changed.
Yes.
So they stuck me on medications for most of my life. I was diagnosed with ADHD and then bipolar and just constantly medicated. And it was so interesting how these doctors would come up with a diagnosis after 15 minutes of meeting with you and just telling you what you are and putting you on a medication and putting you in a box. Yep.
Yep.
And so because of that, I spent most of my life, and I had, like, obviously I'd get angry easy, things like that. But it's interesting, after getting to this point of being able to, doing what I'm doing, and once we release all of this, to be able to reprogram your life to live in a conscious state rather than a subconscious state. So now if you feel yourself getting, the other day I felt myself getting upset, and I automatically, it triggered into my brain consciously, hey, you're getting upset about this. What's the solution? So now my whole rewiring system is that when something in my life goes wrong or is not working for me, my brain automatically triggers, what's your solution? Find a solution. I don't get angry, and I maybe for a few minutes, you get upset about it, whatever, and then you trigger it and it's like, okay, how do I solve this?
Right.
And then you go into that. So that's living in that conscious state. So it's so cool to be able to go in, rewire, reprogram those subconscious programmings from a younger age, because a lot of it goes back to childhood. And so, like you said with yours, so we go back, we rewire those old beliefs, those old habits that were programmed into us with new empowering beliefs. So that's the new story. That's the new narrative. And then once you let go of all those traumas, to be able to go to the next level and actually live in a conscious awareness where you are actually aware of what's going on in your emotions, your life improves forever. And we take this gap of years and years and years of trying to learn how to do this and minimize it very quickly. It's interesting because, we trust in these doctors and things like that. And I'm not compounding saying medicine's bad. It's just not my area of expertise. It
has its
training my
place.
brain to be able to heal itself. But one of the things that probably a lot of people don't know and realize is that there's these different numbers on each medication. And it's one of the numbers is that the number it takes for this medication to actually interact and do good for that patient. So like statins number is like 30. So for every 30 patients, it actually fixes somebody. And then there's a number to harm too. And so to really dig into the true, what is the number till it actually impacts you, where it actually helps you, or the number that harms you. So how many people does it impact? So let's say, hey, I'm looking at this medication, the number to kind of like make an impact or fix you, and I don't remember the initials exactly, I'm just trying to paraphrase it, is let's say that's like 10. So for every 10 patient, it actually helps somebody. But then what's the number to harm is the other one. So how many times will this actually happen until it harms somebody? You see what I mean? So looking at those things, which I never knew about, looking at Zoloft with Kristopher when he was diagnosed with it. But if you look at the warning labels on Zoloft, there's actually a black box warning saying nobody under the age of 24, not nobody, but under the age of 24 could cause suicidal. They actually put that on there so they cannot be sued.
Right.
So like really knowing what is involved with the drugs, the side effects of them, what is that number to impact and that number to harm are also considerations that you need to be looking at before you even consider a medication. But then if you look at modern medicine too, like I'm not knocking it, but it's just, if you look at it, it's trained to, hey, diagnose. So I'm telling you, you're depressed. Yep. Because I've like I've said, I've worked with over 6,000 people.
Let me write your script.
A very quick time frame, these 6,000 people, and I ask them, hey, what's wrong with you? The first thing they do is they tell me, I have depression, I have this, I have mood disorder. They rattle off all these things. And I say to them, hey, where'd you hear that? Oh, my doctor, or my pediatrician or whatever told me that. So we're being programmed to think that I'm depressed. And if I'm telling you that you're depressed all the time, you're going to start taking on that role emotionally of a depressed person.
Right.
And then when I say to them, so the doctor told you that you're depressed, and I always say, what do you think that's wrong with you? And it always stops them. And they're always like, well, not always, but most of the time they'll be like, I don't know. Great, let's break it down and figure it out. So I have a technique that I use to figure out very quickly. And when you come to this wellness fair, you're going to see I'm actually going to do the technique, and we're going to figure out, even everyone in the entire audience, I don't even need to know what's wrong with you, and I'll be able to show you how to figure that out quickly. And then I'm going to actually break them through the Neuro Associative Disruption process to actually start releasing it. So by the time I bring you through that 10 to 15 minutes, that when you open your eyes, your life is going to start to improve forever, just like it did with you. It's easier to say than it is to do. Because when you're in that place, like you said, with pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, we weren't programmed how to handle it. It all comes down to programming. That first 7 years, typically a lot of programs, because we're living in our conscious state, happen. So one of the techniques that I do just with a regular tennis ball is I'll throw it out to somebody. I'll be talking and I throw the tennis ball out and see their reaction. A lot of them will catch it or whatever, or just move out of the way. So it's interesting, but then I'll sit there and I'll just put my hand back up and they'll throw it back to me. That's a form of programming. So listen, you're not born with the ability to catch a ball.
No.
That was programmed into you. That reaction, that fight or flight, I call it, which is fight or flight. Everything is programmed with fight or flight. You grabbed the ball and you threw it back. I didn't say anything to you. I just held my hand up and you threw it back to me. That's programming. So the same type of programming with that tennis ball is the same thing with emotional reactions. There was an event and there was mom or dad or family or friends or other people in that first 7 years creates who you are. So the programs that don't work for you, that don't allow you to be the best you that you're going to be, needs to be reprogrammed. And that's the technique that I do, so you can start living the life on your terms and what that means for you. So so first of all, you're going to have two methodologies as far as like, hey, I want to fix this, or B, I'm in my mindset where this is going to be, right? So the one thing you can do is sit there and do what's called a pattern interrupt. You completely interrupt the pattern and say, you know, let's say we're having this conversation. It's like, hey, what were you talking about? Like, give me an example of what you were talking about. Let's run through this scenario.
Well, 12 years ago, I was in excruciating pain. I had lousy attention. My concentration was shot. I was on a lot of pain meds. And I was literally at that time thinking that it was just a matter of time before I was going to end up in a wheelchair. Because there was just, my back has been cut up so many times. I have a head injury from a car accident. And I don't see anything else in my future. So
I'll ask you 3 questions. You've just told me where you are right now. You described that to me. Where do you want to be? Because now what we're doing is we're weeding out people that actually want to impact their own lives. So I ask you, where do you want to be? This is where you're at right now. It's a matter of time before you're in a wheelchair. The pain's so severe. What would it look like that you'd want to be in your life? What would that be? So answer me that. What would you rather be? If you could have the ultimate scenario, what would that look like for you?
And this is the literal truth. All along my journey with chronic pain since 1987, it was in the back of my mind that this was not where my life was supposed to be, but it was kind of clouded back there. So my answer to that, Charlie, would be, there's more I should be doing, and I want to help other people. Because actually, I started thinking about that in the year 2000, wanting to create some type of a chronic pain resource center. So that
how do you help yourself
first?
Help others. How do you help yourself first? Where do you want to help others, but you're in pain, and this is a matter of time before you're in a wheelchair? What do you physically look like? If you want to be able to help others, what are you physically going to feel or look like to be able to do that?
I need to get rid of this excess weight that's put on, which it's not me. I don't see, when I look at my weight, I don't see myself. I don't recognize myself. When I look at the medications that I'm on, it doesn't connect with me that those should be part of my life. It doesn't make sense. And I see that I should be back to where I was, but understanding I can't go to where I was before I injured my back. But in between, there is someone else that I know I'm supposed to be.
So what does the pain feel like for you? If we looked at that, you mentioned weight loss, you mentioned the drugs, so possibly releasing some of those drugs that don't make sense to you. But then where are you? Are you pain free? Are you in a lot less pain? Are you walking good? Like, what does that mean to you physically?
I'm in a lot less pain. I don't need to rely on pain medications. They're there if I need them, because I know I'll have bad days, but I'm in a lot less pain. I can take control of my life again.
Okay. So then looking at where you are, where you want to be, what's stopping you from getting to where you want to be?
I don't know how to do it.
Okay. So it's resources. It's figuring out the resources to do it. So are
Right.
you committed to finding the right resources until you get to that where you want to be? Because then once you can get to where you want to be, you can help other people do the exact same thing. So it's finding the right resources, correct?
Yes.
What's your commitment level from a scale from 1 to 10 that you want to get to that commitment, 10 being the highest, 1 being not at all, but you can't say number 7 because 7's a cop-out number. So from 1 to 10, how
First
committed
one
are you
came
to
in my
getting to?
mind was 10.
See, so this is the goal. Where are you right now? What does life look like for you? And what's stopping you? You answered every one of those questions. And I say from the scale from 1 to 10, where do you want to be on that commitment level of getting to where you want to be? And you
Right.
can't say 7 because 7's a cop-out number. So if they're at a 6 and below, they're not committed. But they're at an 8 to a 10, the commitment level's higher. Now you're able to work with somebody and say, okay, let's do this. Let's go. Your life is can have purpose again because you're already at an 8.
Yeah. And
So I didn't do anything special. I just created your mind to saying, hey, where do I want to be? What does it look like? How committed are you to get there? So you've got a number of commitment level. You know what they want to be, and they've told you what's holding them back. And you said resources.
and
So
you
you're at a
guys,
level 10 to find the resources you need to get, and that's exactly what you did.
because I kept pushing. I had no guide. I had no one reaching out a hand saying, here, I'll help you. But I was so stubborn that I wouldn't give up. And I kept pushing. And then I did find some guides, like a chiropractor, Nat. And then, eventually finally met you. And it's kind of like, oh my goodness gracious, if I would have known Charlie Ray, folks, literally, if I would have known Charlie Ray 12 years ago, I would be miles ahead. So we have people come to Hope Instilled, the website is coming in looking at information. And if they leave, actually, I want people to come and leave. And people are like, what? Yeah, I want them to come and leave. Because if they come and see what's there and they leave, well, they're not ready, but they know it's there.
Yeah.
They come and hear you, they look at you, they see you, they read about you, and maybe they're like, okay, I get it. He's, but I'm not, oh my gosh, he's really high energy or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But they know you're there. You've planted the seed. And then when they're ready, and everyone out there, folks, your ready time will come. If it hasn't already, it will come. You can mark this down. Hey, on this date, I watched this video, and this crazy guy on here said, I'm going to have my day when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And you'll know Charlie Ray exists.
Yeah. That's
then
the
you
goal.
can turn your life forward and just live a life full of passion that you've never believed in your ever possible.
Yeah. It's unlocking that programming and trying to build new programs that will get you to where you need to go. And I just mastered it because I had to do the hard work and live it the hard way and figure out the way to do it to help other people. So that was kind of my passion. And now you don't have to do it because you got somebody like me that can help you through it.
So let me ask you this, Charlie. When you were growing up, what did you ever envision that this? I mean, you had a lot of things that brought you to this.
Yeah.
But could you ever have thought that you would be doing anything to help people? And I have a reason for why I'm asking this.
Yeah. You know what? So when I was younger, I always liked making people laugh. I had a magic set at my mom's Christmas parties with all the people there. I knew how to do the magic. I was really good at it, but I'd rather screw it up and have everybody laughing. So I always had that heart that I want to make other people feel good, that I want to impact other people's lives. Did not know it at the time. And I've had other people before I even started doing this telling me, hey, you know what? You did this and this and this one time for me, and you were coaching me before you even knew you were a coach. So I think I was already born into it. I was also the black sheep of the family out of 8 kids. I was the disruptor. I was the one that's willing to risk things. I did not follow any type of form. That was not me. And those disruptors, those people that can think outside the box, can solve solutions really, really good. So like you said, all of this lined up to where I am today. And I look at it as my son had to die that had to happen for me to help
I
all
hear
those
what you're
people.
saying.
Yeah. You speak, and as people speak, I can already, just by like you saying things, I can find out who's interacting in your life and who's caused some of this emotional trauma. And I can tell you right on the head what that is and how it's impacted your life just by quick, because that's why I rapidly like accelerate it, because it's like, hey, I ask you questions, I get the answers. I'll even interrupt you. People want to like, listen, I'm not a therapist. It's not talk therapy. I know exactly what I'm looking for. When I find it, let's go.
Right.
So it's like like you said, I accelerate that process so quick. There's four fears I talk about. I fear of not feeling like I'm loved, not feel like I'm good enough, not feel like I'm significant, and not feel like I'm connected. They're all tied together, but they're all four areas. So anything in your life, you can kind of place them into one of those areas. Because once I do that, once you fit it in, I can identify it so much quicker. And that's why I just break it down that way. And just based on that small little blurb that you told me, that one line, that would make me feel like I wasn't good enough. And it probably made you feel that way. And so one of those four fears usually happens at a younger age with mom and dad, but it repeats over and over and over again. So it's programmed into you, like your whole, from childhood all the way to high school, it's always being programmed into you. And so it could have been a coach at a young age. It could have been another person in your life, a family member, a brother, a sister that could have done this. But those programs are usually start at the youngest age. And that's why I asked you when we did our session, I said, what's the earliest memory you have? I start with the earliest memory, because when we release it, reprogram it, and start empowering it, it locks in a new vision of it the way you didn't look at it before. And it's good to have somebody like me that's a coach or a guide, like you said, that can help guide you to look outside that box and make you feel like, no, it wasn't that you weren't loved. It was, and then you find a new empowering lesson that you learned. You gain strength from it. I was determined, like it made me stronger, whatever it is. And we take that empowerment, and that's what we lock in to the new belief system in the subconscious, that empowering feeling. So every time it goes back to it, the new empowering feeling, with anchoring it on top of it like that, empowered it even more. And so it doesn't even exist, or it's so low level that it's like, hey, this doesn't even impact me anymore. To release it and let it go. Because when we can release it, let it go, empower us, once we get to that level, now we're starting to climb up that hill. And it's starting to be easier to get up there because we let go of that. So then in the next phase of your life, it's like, okay, what can I do to live in that conscious state where I'm actually aware of the emotions that are bothering me and being able to get rid of them so quickly? And now you're living in a state where you are totally in control of your life all the time, and you don't have these codependency issues from relationships, and you need to have somebody in your life you can quietly sit in your own life and feel comfortable with where you are right now. They did the best they could, because you know what? That's the one thing I say is I always ask somebody, and it goes back to like mom and dad typically. And then I say, okay, well, let's say it was dad. What was mom and dad's relationship, your dad's mom and dad's relationship with your dad? Right? So we're looking at this generational line of emotional trauma, because when I was younger, my mom always used to call us ungrateful little shit, and she'd get mad and she'd be yelling and she'd be crying. And as brothers and sisters, after they passed away, we'd be talking about that and how it impacted us feeling like we weren't good enough.
Right.
But the thing is, though, my sister was out one time in New York where my uncle, my mom's brother, lived, and she remembered the same line, him saying that ungrateful little shit in some type of phrase.
Right.
So you see what I mean? Now we look at grandma and grandpa. What was that relationship like? That not only that, I lost my son Kristopher, but my grandma lost her son. My uncle was shot down and killed in World War II. So their whole life changed.
Right.
You see, so generational trauma, to be able to let that go, the things that hurt us, now we're empowering and we're building the next generation by letting go of these traumas and being able to live exactly who we are and love ourselves, because we got to fix ourselves first before we can do anything else.
And then
it's like the airplane, when the mask comes down,
Yeah.
You got to put your mask on yourself first, then you can help somebody else.
Right.
Fix you, then worry about everything else.
I know. I feel it. It's right now. I feel the tingling through my body, knowing that through a lot of guidance, I was able to fix myself, which is why I'm doing what I am today. Allowed myself to hurt and grieve. That's a huge, huge factor.
Yes.
The grieving is not just for when we lose a loved one, because if you don't, you're always in bitter. And forgiving isn't letting somebody, giving somebody an excuse for how they hurt you. Forgiving is for yourself. And you don't even have to say it to them. You forgive them. You're shattering those chains. And then you can be into a point where you run into Charlie Ray. He pumps a whole bunch of limitless believing into you. There's a lot of people out there that need you out there doing this. So
yeah, it's the ripple effect. You throw a rock into the water, you've got the ripple effect going off there. I think I've made this phrase before, that if you help 3 people and you tell those 3 people to help 3 people, and you do that for like 10 different, like, I guess, generational, 10 different charts down, you would have helped over 54,000 people just by helping 3 people and asking them to go help 3 people. Right. To make an impact in their lives. So the one person that thinks that they don't have anything to add and they're able to impact 3 people's lives, imagine the generational impact that an entire globe could make just by serving and helping 3 people in your life and passing that down.
Right.
So when you look at that, this whole Everything in Wellness Abilities Fair and what this is about is that you already have experts that are on stages that are trying to impact your life. And there's something that may be missing, that we're not doing Band-Aids anymore. We are literally impacting, and we have a technique, or we have a thing or a process or something that's going to work specifically for you. And you need to come to it to feel and see what that is, because there's so much that every one of these speakers have to offer that they're already experts in their field. They're bringing a piece of information.
And I thank you for, all of these people, all of our speakers, and they'll be up on our website soon, have so much to give. And boy, if we take that first step, come to the event, check out our YouTube channel, check out our website, check out Charlie's website, take that first step, look in the mirror and say, I am powerful. No matter where you are in life, no matter what has hit you. Because you are. It's inside of you. That flame is always there, and all it needs, get it sparked up.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to have come out of this event.
But I actually am putting an event on the 27th. It's on Wednesday
tell us more about that.
From 6:30, it's about an hour and a half, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Up in Brookfield. And I know you have the link that you can give access to the people to come to that event. It's called Beyond Barriers. So you're going to start to learn like how we process information, why we process it. I'm going to go a little bit more deeper into it. I'll do that process there as well. But anyone that comes to that event, I will give them a free ticket to your event. But also anyone that comes in and hears me speak either at my event or at your event, I'm going to give them a 20-minute phone call with me for free. So anyone that wants to come to either my event on Wednesday the 27th or comes to your event and comes and hears me speak, you come in the morning to hear me speak at your event, I will give everyone there a free one-on-one 20-minute session that they can sign up for.
Starts at 9:45. And he has 45 minutes, because that's not even enough time for you, I know. But then we've got 10-minute question and answer, and then you'll have a vendor table so people can follow up after.
Yeah.
And that's how both of us rock and roll, because we know what we've been through, we know what is possible, and we know that we can touch people's lives, and we're supposed to. And you're doing your son proud.
Yeah.
And there is. What was that movie? Pay It Forward.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Remember that movie?
It's been going on forever now. People all over the place are doing that.
Yeah, but he passed young. And they're like,
That's right. Yeah, wasn't he killed? Yeah, he was killed.
to do what you just said, help 3 people. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Talk to 3 people. Here, anyone's watching this video, tell 3 people about the video. Tell 3 people to come to the event and ask each one of them, all you want to ask them to do is tell 3 people and have them continue that, because we need to bring wellness to everyone. Well, Charlie, every time I talk to you, I just get like so pumped up. I don't know why.
Yeah, I have very low energy. I'm such an introvert, so that's probably the reason why, right? My daughter and I were talking on the phone the other day, and her boyfriend came in and it's like, well, who are you talking to so loud? And she goes, no, it's just my dad. We always talk loud. Like, it's just like, I'm always a loud talker.
And again, I've been the same way, because people are like, well, do you need a microphone? Actually, no, I don't need a microphone.
No.
First of all, I don't stand still.
Yeah, no.
I move around. I walk into a crowd. I want to be a part of the crowd, because when I'm talking, I am sharing.
No, that's belief in yourself.
Yeah.
And when people get to experience it, like, there's a difference between being arrogant and there's a difference between you're owning your truth. And so you're doing it to help and serve other people. That's what it's about. And you're true to your own self, and you know the impact you can make.
And what you're doing is something that's not been done before, to get people to where you can talk to them and get them on the path right away.
Your neurology,
right.
Associative, right? We associate things in our life. Disruption, black sheep, disrupting the norm. That's exactly what the black sheeps in the family are, disruptors, and they bring things into people's lives that haven't been seen before. So you'll see a lot of that. Those people that like think outside the box, they're usually the black sheep. They're usually disruptors. And so they'll bring something that nobody's ever seen before with a higher energy, because they've dealt with their own pain. And so that's what raises the energy and the passion behind it. So that's exactly what you are, because you said you were the black sheep. You know what I mean? You did things different. You disrupted the norm. You didn't walk down the same side of the street. Yes. Like, everything that comes out of my mouth now, my family knows this big time. It is literally like the shock and awe of it. It's kind of like with the Tony Robbins and him dropping the F-bomb or swearing. It's literally constantly, I am interrupting those patterns in people's lives constantly. Whenever you're talking, it's interrupting. So you don't have a chance to have that negative thought, because I'm constantly interrupting it for you to see a different light. And so that's that impact that we're trying to make.
Folks, if you're watching this video, and of course, I really would like to have you come back and watch all of our videos again and again. Certainly subscribe to the channel so that you get the content as it gets posted up there. But if you have taken anything out of this one video here, you're going to be like, wait a minute, I need another Fix It Charlie Ray before you come to the event. So you can feel what you are feeling right now, because I know everyone watching this, every one of you, you're feeling a power inside of you you've not felt before. All right, Charlie, it's been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am looking forward not only to the events coming up, but all of the stuff I know we will be doing in the future. Thank you very much.